Let's talk about some types of toxic foods for dogs and what these may cause and how you can prevent it. So there are always some things that most people know, one being chocolate. There is a substance in chocolate that dogs cannot process very well, and essentially it becomes almost like a high dose of caffeine for dogs. And so obviously we stay away from chocolate. It causes heart arrhythmias, high heart rates, and these dogs can collapse from that. Other types of foods that we want to avoid in dogs are grapes and raisins. Now this is something that has been more and more in the literature over the last few years. Dogs that eat a handful of grapes or a handful of raisins, nobody seems to know the amount that it takes, but it can cause acute kidney damage. And so always stay away from grapes and raisins. That was a big one. Now other things like caffeine, in soft drinks, coffee, that sort of thing, you obviously want to stay away from as well because those increase the heart rate. And you have to be really careful about that as well. So keeping your drinks and things off the table that a dog can get into is very important as well. A big thing that is toxic that we don't all automatically think of would be fatty foods that we eat. Things like pork, bacon, sausages, all those types of things are very fatty. And dogs who commonly get into those types of foods can get very bad intestinal upsets or pancreatitis. It can get very, very sick, and it can be life-threatening. So by causing pancreatitis in a dog, it can be toxic as well. So you want to make sure you're feeding just dog foods and appropriate dog foods, and stay away from treats, especially if you don't know what they can do. So grapes and raisins are big. Caffeine, chocolate, toxic foods like fatty foods again, or high salty foods you want to avoid as well. Now another type of substance that sometimes people use to flavor dog food is onion powder or garlic powder, and you also have to watch those. You don't want to use those because they can actually cause blood disorders if given chronically. And so that's another thing that you wouldn't necessarily think that would be toxic, but it can be over time.